All right, hello everybody. This is a Earth Day post. I just kind of wanted to talk about, how 2020 has kind of put I don't know, perspective on things. But anyway, Earth Day, be kind. This is the time to be hippie. This is the time to kind of go, okay, what can we do for the planet? A little reminder that a lot of the groceries, a lot of things we buy, a lot of stuff like that creates a lot of waste. I kind of want to give more tips more than anything. I don't want to preach too much, but like I said, I've kind of adopted on the lighter side minimalism. That's got me to reduce um, a lot of trash, a lot of junk. My mind is free of space. I don't feel claustrophobic anymore. Stuff like that. Then let's see, what other things? I found that during the pandemic, when we all shut down, I think I mentioned this in another post, but it was like animals started to come out more. The weather started to turn. It was cleaner because there weren't too many cars in the Los Angeles area where I'm at. So there was a lot less pollution in the air, stuff like that. So it gave you a sense of like how our planet really could be if we just managed ourselves and chose to manage ourselves. So I want to talk about things that we can control. Like right now, I'm going to try to go on a diet. I'm not happy with my look, so I want to drop about 5 pounds and then maybe 10 if I actually hit my goal. But if I don't hit my goal, I'll just be happy with 5 to 6 pounds. But yeah, why I mention that is because when you watch your diet and when you cook less or cook more and go out less, that's a lot less waste. I found that when you're eating more veggies and stuff like that, you're creating less trash to put into the trash can, less trash that the trash truck might put his arm out, move it up, and then all the wind gets caught, and then trash flies out into the street. So these are like kind of earth-friendly things I'm trying to say. Is like I would love there one day to be a time where we no longer need trash trucks or waste management systems. Everything becomes biodegradable and we can just all do it in our house or in our own yard, or if we live in an apartment, some shared composting site, or maybe if the technology gets good, the big trash bins that we normally put in our apartments could be some kind of decomposing mechanism. So these are things like that. More on the psychological aspect, I always find it weird. I feel like, at least with Americans, they take pride in wanting to be as independent as possible. And yet, they're so content with like having a power company or a waste company or a water company, all those kinds of things, which, make you dependent on those companies. They provide a service and you're happy to pay it as long as it's a low cost, right? To me, I'm like, well, I want to be as independent as possible. I would love to have solar panels, not to be like too hippie for all those people that don't like that, but to be as independent as possible. I don't want to rely on a power company. I want to just rely on the sun. That'd be pretty cool. Um, yeah, even if it is for half a day. Same with water, rain barrel stuff. It's like, why not? Especially if, for the most part, you could use it to water your lawn, stuff like that. If you're really adamant about not drinking rainwater, then yeah, you can reduce your bill by just having city drinking water versus rainwater. I've been talking a lot about compost toilets, to myself, I should say. I've been thinking about it, where it's like I like the idea of all your waste going through a machine, which probably costs a lot. I don't own one, I couldn't tell you much about it, but goes through a machine and kind of like liquefies everything to the point where you can drop it off as fertilizer, and you're creating your own waste as your fertilizer. One guy in Florida did that and only dispersed it onto like his fruit trees. So he would say, "Hey, look, none of this is going on to like my strawberries or foods that you can pick off and eat. all the poop and all that stuff is going into areas that don't touch the foods." So there's ways, you just gotta think about it. And so these are all earth friendly tips. I think of veganism to a degree. to be very fair, and I just want to archive this for my own kind of thing. I remember watching a show called Alone on the History Channel. It's a very educational, very fun, interesting show. And one of the characters was vegetarian. And I believe after X amount of time of not being able to catch or grow or find any types of things that sustained him, he was forced to eat meat. And he was one of those people that didn't, like fight it or hate on you for, not being vegetarian or vegan. He just, you know, understood what it was. And the reason why I bring that up is because then it makes you wonder, are we meant to be? So everything's choice, obviously. Uh, I choose to reduce my meat intake, and then I try to, eat more veggies and stuff like that. But that's just because I'm getting older and I'm finding my body wants that more anyways. But these are all kind of earth things, tying it back into the green shirts and the Earth Day stuff. There's just so much. There's so many little things we can do, the big ones for me that I found very peaceful is, like I said, the minimalism. That's a lot less trash and that's a lot less stuff around your house. And you would not believe the psychological benefits that helps, with depression and all that anxiety, all that stuff. It helps so much. And if you're any one of those people, I'd say at least try it, when you go out less, aka the restaurants and stuff, you're obviously doing less takeout. Or if you don't finish your food, you're doing a lot less waste because, you leave what's on your plate, and then that I've seen people where I'm like, that's a lot of food you're wasting just because you don't want to take it home and reheat it. And a lot less to that. And so it's just very interesting, those things. If you cook more at home, I had this talk recently about people that hate cooking. That's another form of therapy, that I would recommend. Cooking is just, because it forces you to focus on one thing. You learn so much, how to gauge the food, the temperatures, when some things cook, when things overcook. Just, I don't know. And plus, I find it weird if you don't know how to cook, because it's basic survival that you need. Like, I feel dumb not knowing how to fish or hunt or gather, not saying that I need to, because we're in this society where we're better than the animals, but still, I just feel like it's something you need to know. I don't even know how to start a fire. I'm like the worst Boy Scout. And so those are like things that I want to learn, just because I just feel like you should, like, because once again, you want to be as independent as possible. And so I just try to have less, I try not to buy clothes that often. There's a topic I want to talk about real briefly, but it would probably be its own segment one day, is the term depreciating value. And so the new hip thing to do is like, don't fully pay off your house, just reduce, just keep refinancing and lower it that way. And that way, you're not spending too much money. And the same goes with a car. They're saying, oh, lease a car because the depreciating value, it makes no sense to buy a car. So I go, well, that goes with a lot of things. People love their brand new shoes, but as soon as you take it out of the box, it touches dirt, it touches dust, and it's depreciating value. So I don't get why you would spend $500 to $1,000 on shoes. Same goes with clothes. I don't know why you would buy clothes every year. And I'm only saying this if you're the kind of person that believes in this depreciation value, don't be sold on the vintage thing. Oh, you want to buy these clothes because they'll be fit. No, that's just a tactic to get you to spend. But yeah, so it's just like everything has a depreciating value. So that just technically means hold on to stuff you have. Don't always constantly buy new things. I'm seriously thinking about getting rid of like the TV almost in a way permanently, just because, I'm just finding the news is too worldwide to where I have no relation to it. I have no business relation to it. I have no close proximity. Nobody talks about nearby things too often. It's always like this is happening there and this is happening there. And that's fine and grand. And for people that want to make a strong movement, more power to you. But I'm just kind of going on the other side. I can't care about everything. Otherwise, I will go insane, and I will try to care about everything to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to fault anyone for not caring about the same things I care about when they have other issues that they care about more deeply. And so these are all just earth things, that I'm trying to say. It's kind of a longer video than I hoped for, but the idea is just to just stop and think. You're not the only one on the planet. Think about every city that you go to or visit. These are all towns that slowly get bigger. And as they get bigger, you push away animals. You push away shrubbery. I had a talk with a lady where we're both kind of like, this is a no-brainer. The more trees you cut down for, I don't know, like view or just to extend your landscape, that's the more heat you bring into the world, because the trees, cool down everything. They create the weather that we have by cooling down the weather, creating more cold fronts that match with warm fronts that then create a storm. And if we don't have that, then we're just essentially creating a desert or a wasteland for what? The sake of a view. So if you're not clever enough to have a tree and a view, then you're just not clever, in my opinion. That's the mean hippie in me saying that. But yeah. So it's just kind of like we're kind of like going, no, duh, like I've had people cut down trees and then go, why is my neighborhood hotter? It's like, well, you cut down all the shade, and it's always for silly reasons, or legitimate, depending on your perspective. But it's like maintenance costs, okay. Or safety, a branch breaks and falls on it. But sure, but that just goes with everything in life. It's like we trust an airplane not to crash, but then we're like, oh, we gotta cut this tree for sure because a branch might fall off. So it's just like, I don't know, we're just very bonkers. We're too entitled still. The pandemic has taught me that we're still a creature that has a lot more evolving to go, to where we need to stop thinking that we're above the food chain, but we're just part of it. I fully believe that, because if you want to have the well-rounded mentality, you just need to have that thought process. So be earth-friendly. Just think of a little thing you can do, whether it's purchasing less, helping a human being out, planting something. I totally promote gardening. If you have the yard space, I totally promote it. Great therapy, helps you out tremendously. But anyway, I feel like I said a lot. I feel like I gave you enough to write on for this year. Think about it and enjoy all that. Have a good Earth Day, Earth Month. Boom.